thanks for tuning in. So today we're going to look at how to tie up a Ronnie rig. It's the first tutorial video in a series. I've chosen to start with this rig because I've used it for the last 12 months now. It's managed to bank a good number of fish, including my PB. And it's perfect for beginners and anglers of all abilities. So what we'll do, we'll get the components out, we'll talk you through the components, and then how to set the rig up, and then we'll take it from there. Cheers guys. Right then guys, so we're all ready now. Little quick look, this is the rig that we're going to be looking at tying. The spinner rig, Ronnie rig, goes by a number of names. So yeah, not too complicated. I'm going to go through the components that I use to tie mine, have a little talk about some of the variants, some options that you have, but this is just the way I tie mine. Hopefully it helps. If you're a new angler or someone who's not used the Ronnie rig yet, then hopefully this video helps you along the way. But please, if you like the video, remember to subscribe, hit the like button. If there's any future tutorials or how-tos that you'd like me to cover, then just leave a comment. I do my best to reply to all comments, so do leave a comment and I will get back to you as soon as I can. But yeah, any suggestions, and like I said, there'll be more tutorials to come. So this is the finished rig, so let's get started. So for my rigs, especially my Ronnie rigs, I do like to use a curve shank hook. This one is a size 4 curve from Carp to Bank UK, but like I said, you could, there is variants that you can use. You can choose wide gape hooks. Again, you know, if you're not looking for a specific type of hook, I would recommend the curve shank. I just think the way it sits in the water, it's really aggressive, and it definitely, in my view, improves your uphold. So that's our hook, size 4 curve shank. Depending on what size bait you're going to use, you know, I would go down to a size 6. So this is your size 6 curve shank. So again, it just depends on the venue, the size of fish, and the size of pop-up really, and how you want to balance it. So we're starting off with the size 4 curve. What you want to do is get yourself some quick change rotator swivels, or Ronnie swivels. You'll find them again on various websites. A lot of people still use the quick change swivels, but in my view, you're weakening your components when you're using a standard quick change swivel. You've kind of got to pry open the quick change element to get your hook on, and then squeeze it down again. And I think at any point you're bending metal, you're weakening it. So I do recommend that you get one that's fit for the job, and it's already opened, as you can see, and that's a rotator swivel or a Ronnie swivel. And again, you can get them on most tackle shops, most websites. These are the Carp to Bank UK ones. I like them, does exactly the same job at a fraction of the price. And then I do like to use a bait screw. There's different bait screws out there on the market. Simple bait screw ring, and that's for the bait to screw on. And then what you want is a hook bead. Again, you can get these from most tackle shops, and we'll show you what to do with them. And then you have, like I said, different components. You have a choice of using shrink tubing. I like to use the rotator covers from Ridge Monkey. I just think it means I'm wasting less tackle, because these can slide on, slide off. At any point I want to change the hook, I can reuse these. I'll show you how easy they are. So them are the Ridge Monkey quick change rotator sleeves. And then for your boom material, again, there's loads of different things you can use. You can use a stiff fluorocarbon. I fish quite a lot of silty waters, so I like to use a soft or a semi-stiff boom, depending on the venue I'm fishing. So little example is the ESP tungsten loaded soft. That's in £20. and just really flexible and subtle, and will lie across the bottom. I've actually just used the rest of that, that's how much I'm using it. And this is the semi-stiff version. Again, it comes in different colours to match what you're fishing on. So you've got the Troddy Silk. Another one is the end trap, so the end trap semi-stiff. Again, just another coated braid. Really good, really useful. This one, the semi-stiff, again, it's not too stiff. It will lie nicely on the bottom. And then I've got one just there in camo brown if I'm fishing on clay or harder bottoms gravel, for example. So I'm going to do the hook section first. So the first thing that I do is I'm going to put the sleeve onto the hook. And the sleeve hook, it can act as a bit of a kicker, but I'm going to take the wide part of the sleeve and push that over the high of the hook. Always be mindful, where you're taking hold the curve of the hook on the bottom. You're being careful not to jab yourself and have an accident before you get started. And that's just going to slide over the hook. Just needs a little help getting over the eye. Don't want to stress it too much because I don't want it ripping, but that's on. So as you can see now, just pushed it onto the shank, leaving the eye clear. And you're leaving the eye clear because you're going to take your rotator swivel and you're going to put the hook on through towards the back of the hook. So you want your point facing down of the hook and the point of the swivel going up through the eye. Once that's on, as you can see, you're then just going to slide your sleeve back up over the eye until you've covered the gap of the rotator swivel. That's going to make sure that your hook's going to stay on when you're in contact with a fish. The joy of this, as I said, at any point, if I get a blunt hook or I feel I need to change the hook for whatever reason, that can just slide off, take the hook off, put a new hook on, cover it again with the sleeve, and then we're fishing again, saving so much of my end tackle just replacing the hook. So that's basically the bulk done at this point. So we've got the sleeve on, the rotator swivel on, and the hook. The next job is to attach your bait screw. And most bait screws come with their own little ring, and you're just going to pass the hook through the ring, and then your bait screw is on. And then what a lot of people do is they put a hook bead on before the bait screw. Now, I don't like to do that. I don't like my bait screw to be too fixed into a small section of the hook. I want it to act a bit more like a blowback. So what I'll do is I'll put a bead on second, and then if the fish does spit the boilie out, there's more room for the bait screw and the boilie to slide back up the hook, making sure I get a nice hook hold on the fish. So the last thing to go on is one of the hook beads. Can be a bit tricky on these. You just got to make sure that your hook is sharp. You find the point. And we're just working it down. And what I tend to do is just move that round to the microbarb, and just in line with the microbarb on the curve. And that's the main section done. As you can see now, I've got quite a lot of movement on that, so if the fish was to try and eject, it's going to come back up to the sleeve. What you find if you put a boilie stop on first is you're just limiting that, so if it does get spat out, it's going to take the hook out as well. You want that bit of extra movement down the shank of the hook. Alright, so you can do that, as many rigs as you're setting up. If I'm setting 3 Ronnie rigs up, I'll do all 3 of the hook components first. The second part, again, is different ways of doing it. So as you can see on this one, I've tied on a loop before I put the swivel on. And what that does, it just gives you a lot more movement, and the bait just acts a lot more natural when it's on the bottom. So for the boom section, cut off your length of your chosen coated braid or whatever you choose to use as your boom section. I'm using the tungsten loaded semi-stiff coated braid. Really strong, really durable, but again really supple and flexible for the silty venues that I fish. Now I'm going to thread on my swivel. Again, this is probably a step you could do at the beginning, or if you choose to do it later on. And as I said, you can either choose to use a grinner knot, or you can do a loop, a figure of 8 loop. For this one, I'm just going to tie it directly on, and then I can show you the comparison between the loop. So if you've not done a grinner knot before, I'm just going to run through this quickly. Loop. I'm just going to do a couple of turns for now because we're not fishing with this rig. Pull that, skip it down. It's got a nice tight grinner knot there. We're going to cut the tag end off. And then the other end is just going to be an overhand loop with a twist. So nice figure of 8 loop knot on the end. I'll show you the benefit of that in a second. And then you've got your boom. Nice, strong, reliable rig. So again, just to cover, little grinner knot to the swivel on this one, down to a figure of 8 loop knot on the end. And what that does is you can choose to use it with an anti-tangle sleeve. I found with the semi-stiff, having that doubled over just that section is enough to kick the rig away and reduce tangles on the cast. And the last thing you're going to do is attach your pop-up. So here we're using Total Nuts Baits Solutions pop-ups. Absolutely love this bait. So buoyant. Smells amazing. And there we have the completed rig. So I hope that explains it all to you. I will do some knot tutorials if you're not 100% sure on the grinner knot or the loop knot on another video.